Welcome to another video from Offside Matters. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is over. The Spanish team are the new reigning world champions. Argentina came agonizingly close to defending their title. And after 104 matches and 308 goals, we already know the stories that will dominate the history books. But this video isn't about those stories. We aren't going to rank the best teams or about the biggest upsets. And we certainly aren't going to recap the matches. Instead, we're going to look at something much more captivating. What did the World Cup actually teach us about where football is heading? Because beneath the goals, the drama and the individual performances, there were some very clear tactical trends. So, what can we learn from the tournament? Let's break it down. Over the past decade or so, possession has been treated almost like a scoreboard. The more you have, the better you're supposedly playing. But the World Cup provided another reminder that this relationship isn't nearly that simple. Take England's last 16 match against Mexico. England had just 33.2% possession, their lowest possession figure in a World Cup match since Opta's records began in 1966. Yet they weren't being dominated. In the first half, England had just 37.2% possession, but generated 0.75 expected goals, compared with Mexico's 0.44. They created two big chances to Mexico's one, and they eventually won the match. Now compare that with England's group stage performances. Against Ghana, England had 78.4% possession, but produced only 0.31 xG in the first half. Against Panama, they had 71.9% possession, and generated just 0.50 xG in the opening 45 minutes. That tells us something important. Possession can control the ball without controlling the game. And this is where managers should pay attention. Because the correct question to ask isn't, how much possession did we have? But instead, it should be, what did our possession actually produce? Because if a team can defend compactly, absorb pressure and then attack the space left behind the opposition defense, it doesn't necessarily need 60 or 65% of the ball. Data showed that winning teams were recovering the ball, on average, 4 seconds faster than losing teams. It specifically linked fast recovery and counter-pressing with success. So perhaps the next evolution of possession football isn't having more of the ball. It's winning it back faster and using it more efficiently. Here's something that would have sounded almost ridiculous 10 years ago. The 4-4-2 is back. Well, kind of. Not necessarily as the old-fashioned formation we remember from the 1990s. But as a modern defensive and transitional structure. We observed the frequent use of 4-4-2 during the tournament, while teams such as Brazil and Morocco used it out of possession to form compact mid-blocks. And there's a reason this works. A 4-4-2 gives you two forwards against the opposition centre-backs. Two banks of four can protect the central areas. The midfield line can shift laterally without constantly changing its basic structure. And when possession is won, there are immediately two forward players available for the transition. It's simple, but simple doesn't mean unsophisticated. In fact, modern 4-4-2 is often incredibly flexible. One striker can drop into midfield. The wide midfielders can narrow. One fullback can advance while the other stays deeper. Suddenly your 4-4-2 becomes a 4-3-3. Or a 4-2-3-1. Or a 5-5 in attack, bringing back the classic century-old WM formation. And perhaps the biggest evidence that this structure is working is the number of goals scored during the tournament. The 2026 World Cup produced 308 goals in 104 matches, almost exactly 2.96 goals per game, the highest average since the 1970 World Cup. So the lesson for coaches isn't, bring back 4-4-2. It's, don't dismiss simple structures just because modern football has become more complicated. Sometimes, giving players clearer defensive references can actually create more freedom when they win the ball back. Here's another tactical trend that shouldn't be ignored. Goals from outside the box. It sounds obvious, but modern football has become increasingly obsessed with creating the perfect chance. Cutbacks, low crosses, central combinations, extra pass, extra touch, and eventually, the shooting opportunity disappears. The World Cup taught us a more simplified lesson: simply take the shot. Of the 308 goals scored at the tournament, 43 came from outside the penalty area. That's roughly 16% of all goals and approximately double the proportion recorded at Qatar 2022. Now compare that with the Premier League. Goals from outside the box had fallen from 22.3% of all Premier League goals in 2006-07 to just over 13% during the 2025-26 season. This isn't simply about spectacular screamers. It's about changing how defenders think. If midfielders are willing to shoot from 20 to 25 yards, centre-backs have to step out. That creates space behind them. As such, a long-range shot can become a tactical weapon, even when it doesn't go in. The simple lesson to learn from this is that the threat of the shot creates the space for the better chance in most matches, irrespective of the quality of the opponent. If you've watched the Premier League closely, you already know this one. Set pieces aren't an afterthought anymore. They're an attacking system. England scored twice from corners during the early stages of the tournament, while Opta ranked them among the strongest teams for set-piece output and XG. And this trend goes well beyond England. Look at Arsenal. Last season, Arsenal scored 25 goals from set pieces excluding penalties, including a record 19 goals from corners. Carefully practiced moves, maneuvered in high-stake matches, reaping maximum benefits. However, FIFA instructed referees to clamp down more aggressively on grappling and blocking during set pieces. The result? Less chaos inside the penalty area, which means teams increasingly have to create attacking passing combinations, attack with verve, and place greater emphasis on technicality and flair rather than simply putting 11 players inside the box and hoping someone wins the wrestling match. For Premier League coaches, the message is simple. Try to break open matches from open play, not just set pieces. One of the most underrated lessons from the tournament was the growing importance of the holding midfielder. We observed the continued importance of holding midfielders in counter-pressing and protecting the defense when teams drop into low blocks. Rodri won the Golden Ball as the best player of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, leading Spain to their second Men's World Cup title. He completed 753 passes with approximately 93-94% accuracy, the highest volume in tournament history. He led all players in tackles and touches, while being involved in 1,803 plays, nearly 200 more than any other competitor. In the final, he completed 101 of 106 passes and made a crucial goal-saving tackle on Lionel Messi in the 92nd minute. England also gave us another interesting example. Elliot Anderson's group stage performances showed that one midfielder can effectively act as the team's defensive and connective platform. Against Panama, he recorded 92 touches, more than any other England player. Across the group stage, he completed 30 line-breaking passes, won 24 duels and regained possession 20 times, all team-leading figures. That tells us something about the modern midfield. The best defensive midfielder isn't simply there to destroy attacks. He needs to receive under pressure, progress the ball, cover transitions, win second balls, and understand when to slow the game down. In other words, the modern number 6 is increasingly becoming the tactical stabilizer of the entire team. So, what did the World Cup actually teach us? Football isn't necessarily moving towards more possession. It's moving towards more efficient possession, but not necessarily about abandoning pressing. It's more about recovering the ball faster and choosing the right moment to press, not about returning to old-fashioned football. It's about taking useful ideas from the past and adapting them to the modern game. 4-4-2, direct football and long-range shooting can work within the framework of the modern game. And a team with less of the ball can still control the match. If you liked this breakdown, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our new channel. Every like and subscribe goes a long way in motivating us to work harder for the next video. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.